Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to the podcast. And I'm really excited for you to get to know Greg Goodman, and I've really enjoyed just chatting just a little bit before we got started. But Greg, as I'm glad you're here, and as I start with everyone, tell folks a little more about yourself and how you've landed where you've landed.
Sure, the age-old question, the elevator pitch. But yeah, as you said, my name's Greg Goodman, and I have been working in the mental health industry in marketing and web design for about 20 years. I never intended to be in this industry. I'm not a therapist. My father was a therapist, and so I definitely had an introduction to the world from a young age. And without going into my entire life history, it was not the easiest of childhoods. And I really just, it really always, I don't even know that I had the words to articulate this as a 7-year-old kid, but he really just, I always felt safe and heard and seen and not judged when I would lay my head on his lap and share some, the day's traumas and try to process them in the best way that I could as a young child. So just sort of that kindness. So, and I didn't even know what a therapist was. I just knew my dad helped people. And then, of course, as life went on, as the universe or God or fate or whatever you want to call it, put me into this field. I was like, this feels right to be able to do this work, to support the work my dad was doing and so many other people. But yeah, I had a marketing degree. I knew I wanted to be a businessman. I wanted to move to Hollywood and become the CEO of a major motion picture company because I liked movies and I liked business. And I didn't know what that meant. I
Right?
was in high school.
Yeah.
But I also loved websites. And about 30 years ago in a high school class, I got into the world of web design. And I haven't looked back since. As an artist, it's like this incredible digital canvas to create magic, to create literally anything. You're even before, decades before AI, it was already a place for like infinite potential and tech. I always liked tech. And
Uh-huh.
then I was doing that, and then people were like, "Oh, Greg, can you make a website? Can you do this?" And then a family friend had a group practice in New York City 20 years ago. She's like, "Can you run Google ads for us?" And it was a lot easier then. It was like choose a couple keywords, do anything. You already are ahead of 99.9% of the other therapists out there. Like nobody was doing
Mhm.
it. And just more therapists found me, and the snowball effect. And before I knew it, I was like, okay, I guess my career is mental health marketing and web design. And
Yeah.
fast forward to today, I'm no longer a freelancer. Goodman Creatives, we've grown, we've expanded. We're an international team of 10 wonderful creative human beings around the world who each have their own part of the shared vision of our vision is to improve the mental health of 1 million people around the world by the work that we do. Completely non-quantifiable, because how can I count? But I
Hmm.
really believe like the butterfly effect, the proverbial pond the pond, the pebble in the pond, that with the
Yeah.
ripple effects, like when we
Sure.
help helpers, the effects magnify infinitely. And I don't need to measure it, but that's kind of like our guiding principle for everything that we do. To wrap it up, full service digital marketing agency, we provide all of the scope of digital marketing services in one place for the folks who want done for you. And what I'm really excited about and what we're going to chat about today is how
Mhm.
in this world you don't even need folks like us half the time anymore because AI can do so much of it for you.
Right, right. Yeah. It's amazing how marketing has changed over the years. And I've always people that listen to the podcast always hear from me really the way I like to think about marketing your practice is really there are more than enough people out there that need your help. And so marketing is just a way to help them find you. And that it's not about sales necessarily. It's just making yourself discoverable and standing out to people and really giving your personality to things. But yeah, so to jump in, I know for me, AI has been a huge game changer, particularly with copywriting and
Mhm.
just really coming up with ideas about things and that sort of thing. And I know one of the things that a lot of people are concerned about, as you mentioned, Greg, is just the whole ethics around using AI and just thinking about that. So, yeah. So, what are your initial thoughts with AI? And hopefully, it's not beating you out of a job with all of this.
It's funny that those are the words you use because what you said before, I totally resonate with that, and I agree. Is there's always been in the 2 decades I've been in this industry, there's sort of a stigma with so many therapists about marketing, putting yourself out there, selling yourself, being inauthentic, being pushy, all these things that I've heard. And the reframe that I always offer it's like sales as a service, because it is sales at the end of the day. Like we're selling your services, but a therapist isn't an iPod. It's not Nike, it's not Macy's, it's not a major conglomeration, right? It's selling transformation and a better life. And to
Mhm.
shift that narrative to soulful sales, to heart-led sales, to sales as a service, I think is so important. And with that mindset, to me, like I don't see it as like, oh, the mental health marketing industry will be out of a job. There's always going to be people who don't want to do it. But again, what I love about it is, the most heartbreaking sales calls to have are with folks who are just getting started, who cannot
Mhm.
afford any kind of marketing services. And it's getting
Mhm.
more and more competitive. I heard somewhere that there's going to be like 50% more licensed therapists in the States within the next 5 years because of all the folks connecting the dots myself, but who during COVID were like, oh, this seems like a great profession. Insert reason here. And
Mhm.
it is. And there's more need for relatively free marketing help than ever. But to directly address the question of the ethics and the concerns, there are ethical concerns.
Mhm.
Like there's no way around it. Like there are some questionable things that are being done. And I'm not even going to touch the actual using AI for mental health. Like that's not what this conversation is about. Not as a
Mhm.
substitute for therapy or AI mental health chatbots and CBT chatbots. That's a whole other podcast, right?
Mhm.
But just in terms of simply like where the data is sourced from, like how AI learning models, they just steal. And like, no sugarcoating it. Like they take copyrighted material and the folks who run the tech companies, and I don't need to make villains out of them, but they say like that we can't help it. Like they source what's out there, and we can't put a buffer on copyrighted material or not. And there's lawsuits by Facebook. There's lawsuits I get things against Facebook by New York Times, by there's so many major and like
Mhm.
authors are coming together to form these class action libel suits. And because people's work, my work, probably your work,
Mhm.
is being
Mhm.
used to train these LLMs, these large language models, and it's just they're getting for free what has taken you, Gordon, like on your website and your resources, like years of thousands of hours and your own money out of your life to create these resources. And then ChatGPT and Claude and Anthropic is like, whoop, we're gonna use them. Thanks, buddy. Enjoy that.
Uh-huh.
So to me,
Yeah.
that's a concern for sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Um, there's the carbon footprint. AI uses a ridiculous amount of energy, and every tech company is trying, we're offsetting it with solar and this. But I think, and it's great that you asked that first, because we can't talk about how amazing AI is without at least acknowledging the ramifications that it has on humanity, on individuals, and on the globe as a whole. So
Mhm.
with all of that said, I think any use of AI needs to be looked at through that lens. Like this is where we are. And I did a presentation some months ago for a large group, and I presented all of this and even more. And at the end, I'm like, drop in the chat. Is AI ethical? One yes, two no. And even with all this stuff and even a longer laundry list that I'm sharing here, it was overwhelmingly one. It is ethical to use it. A few people had a caveat, like, but
Mhm.
that was what I got from a group of mental health professionals was even in light of this, still yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that begs the question, well, how do we make it ethical? And just given all those things. And I'm sure there's more than one answer to all of that. But yeah, as you've delved into this, what are the things that you are recommending or seeing that we can do to make the use of AI more ethical?
Well, I'll put the question back to you for a minute, Gordon. Like
Uh-huh.
what we're talking about ethical, right? Like this word
Uh-huh.
means so many things to so many people, right? So
Right.
with you,
Right.
like what are let's clarify the constraints of the conversation. Like what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really good question. And I think, I just think about my own use of AI so far. One of the things is it's a huge time saver in
Hmm.
that it can write stuff that what would take me, if I were to write a blog, for example, on a particular topic,
Hmm.
and I've already got it kind of formulated in my head, but I've actually got to write it out. I could put a prompt into AI and saying, I want to write a blog post about 5 different ways to deal with anxiety in your life. Give me some ideas about things that you want to, that I could write about. And so it would spit those out. And then it usually asks, do you want me to write the blog post for you? And then it writes it. And then you go back and look at it and you think, okay, yeah, this is kind of what I would say as well. And they've already typed it out for me.
Right.
So to me, that's an ethical use with if you're vetting it and it matches up what you kind of your own voice or whatever. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and that I think is an easier, I don't want to say easier, and that is
Mhm.
the more clear, like, because AI lies, like AI is
Uh-huh.
known, it hallucinates, as they call it, just
Hmm.
makes stuff up. So like, to me, ethics is like, first of all, where are you getting your information from? Like, ask the LLM, like, where are you getting this from? Are you just stealing like, in theory, it doesn't verbatim copy, plagiarize somebody else's work. But there
Uh-huh.
are like plagiarizer checkers out there that you can run your work through to make sure AI plagiarizer checkers, of course,
Yeah.
to make
Right.
sure that it's not doing anything. AI likes to make up sources. So if AI is confidently saying 37% of Americans that suffer with anxiety, go on to have more severe insert thing here. Where'd you get that stat from? Show me the stat. It's gonna be like, oh, this is cited from GB et al. 2017. And then you look for that service and it doesn't exist. Or for that study
Hmm.
and it doesn't
Hmm.
exist. So I think ethical use is everything you said sounds perfectly in line with ethics, right? Like not just taking it at
Uh-huh.
face value and copying and pasting, but doing the due diligence to make sure that wherever it got its information, it is now coming out through you, Gordon. Right? Like you write
Hmm.
that blog post, you put it on your website, your potential clients or complete strangers who never become clients are reading it. It is now your ethical responsibility to accurately portray the thing that you are putting out to the world. So really just
Right.
checks and balances. And that's separate from the ethics of where does that stuff come from a like how the entire AI ecosystem is trained or anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what are some of the other things that come to mind for you and just thinking about the ethical use of AI? So
There we go. I feel like I was on my
mhm.
harsh lighting. So those are really the big ones, right? Like I think as far as it's concerned, like to keep it at more of a macro level for the sake of this conversation, I think the biggest ethical concern as it directly relates to mental health marketing of AI is what I just mentioned. Is just really because there's bias. Like we don't know what data sources it was trained on. When you do that, and I do it all the time, it's the most wonderful gift. Like I use it for my own business, I use it for Goodman Creative clients, like using AI just to do the heavy lifting. And I always say like AI is do never publish straight out of ChatGPT or whatever your chosen model is. Like,
Mhm.
that is the first draft. It's going to save you 2 to 3 hours of writing, but that it's only taking like 60%. And I don't believe in 100%, but your responsibility is to get it to the 80%, right? Like
Uh-huh.
and it's a conversation and it's like checking and keeping the AI model in check at every step, like validate your words. And that
Mhm.
is really the ethical use is making sure that whatever it is, whatever good or not so good sources the AI got its data from, that it is in alignment with your beliefs, your values, and that you, if someone were to come to you, like they're like, oh, I use it with AI, that's why it was wrong. Like, it doesn't matter. The damage is done. So like, can you,
Uh-huh.
the therapist, authentically put this piece of content out into the world and know that it is going to do good? To me, that's sort of, ethics, if and it's, and I'm not trained in all of the philosophers of the world, but to me, like if I'm talking about
Mhm.
ethics, it's like at the most pure to break it down into like concepts that Tyler can understand. It's like, is it good or is it bad?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
obviously, it's infinitely more nuanced than that. But like, can you put this out and you'd be like, I feel good about putting this out?
Right. Right.
Then to me, that
Yeah.
is ethically okay with a million caveats behind it.
Sure, sure. Yeah. That I think that's helpful, very helpful to think about it that way, and that we still need to, like you said, have our due diligence, fact check, all of those kinds of things with what you receive from those
Mhm.
platforms, regardless of which one you're using. So, yeah. So to switch gears a little bit, Greg, in your world of marketing, what are some of the best uses for AI in the marketing world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head really for one of the greatest uses is in all of my years of working with therapists, and any therapist marketing person you go to, like, what's the number thing everyone says? Like, everyone wants to focus on search engine optimization. How do you do search engine optimization? One of the keys of SEO is creating content. And yes, creating content that has keyword that solves user queries, that is actually valuable, all of that. But regardless of what route you take for content, there's something simply about the act of writing that, in my experience, paralyzes a lot of therapists with all sorts of limiting beliefs behind it and stories. And, you know, I can't write, I'm a terrible writer, I can only write a thesis, I can't write marketing copy, all these things I've heard. And acknowledging that that is the experience that's going on for that person, ChatGPT is an amazing workaround
Hmm.
for that. So I think just strictly getting new content out there, assuming you take the time to youify it and not just leave it as
Hmm.
generic ChatGPT exposition. So that, I think, is an amazing opportunity for therapists to just get the content that they need so that a search engine or an LLM can look at their website and say, like, oh, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. They've got 37 articles on, just keep running with the anxiety because that's what you mentioned before. They not only
Hmm.
did they say 5 ways to know if you have anxiety, it's what is anxiety? What are the origins of anxiety? How does anxiety show up in professionals? How does anxiety show up in artists? Right? All these different things that Google and LLMs can understand. Like, all right, they understand more of the web of this thing. So when someone types in anxiety therapist in Tennessee, I should
Uh-huh.
probably recommend Gordon. Like, this
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense than recommending Greg, who just has mentions the word anxiety 3 times on his page. So I think
Right.
that's
Right.
huge, is copywriting. And
Hmm.
with that said, within the sphere of ChatGPT, there's a lot, and I'll come back to it. And I'm also just using ChatGPT synonymously, like Xerox or Kleenex for
Hmm.
everybody's chosen LLM, because it has kind of
Yeah.
become synonymous. But whether you use Claude or Gemini or Anthropic or Surfer SEO or whatever it is, like the fundamentals are the same. So what I love about quote unquote ChatGPT is that
Uh-huh.
it can do everything for you. But there's also amazing entrepreneurs out there. And I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm in Santa Cruz, about 75 miles south of San Francisco. So I'm in this like tech bubble. And all
Hmm.
anybody talks about anytime I'm at a birthday party for one of my kids' friends, it's like, what do you do? Oh, I'm in this AI business. I got this new AI startup. And right, there's so many
Hmm.
cool people doing really interesting things, leveraging this technology. So even more advanced stuff, and I don't necessarily recommend doing this within ChatGPT directly, but like creating ad copy for Facebook ads or Google ads or
Hmm.
whatever ads. And you can brainstorm all of that within the LLM. But there's other
Hmm.
apps out there that you give them a few prompts, they're going to come up with the entire campaign. The app somehow syncs with the API infrastructure of the ad platform. And with a few clicks, not only do you have ideas for an ad, you have fully formed ads that are live on your chosen ad platform.
Right.
With creative, with your brand voice, with best practices and psychological factors that are going into play. And obviously you need to monitor it. Don't just let like
Right.
that.
Right.
If everybody listening or watching this has one takeaway from this, it's do not let AI run unmonitored. Like,
Yes.
AI is wonderful. I love AI.
Hmm.
AI needs you to be the teacher, to be the gatekeeper for whatever is put out into the world. So I
Right.
think
Right.
that's an incredible opportunity alone, because right, like, you can spend $1,000 a month just for someone to manage Google Ads. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying, I don't actually recommend just letting Google Ads run wild, even with AI, because it'll
Uh-huh.
waste so much of your money and you won't get results. But
Yeah.
the capability is there. Like, we're not that far away from, I don't want to say me being out of business, because I do believe there's always going to be that need for the human
Sure.
oversight. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. I think, another thing is just you're using AI as a learning tool. I know
Mhm.
for me, the copywriting yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that I've just enjoyed doing. I just recently created a whole curriculum using AI and putting in an extensive prompt. And I think that's another thing too, is you've got to, I
Yes.
think, put a lot of work in on the front end. It's not just type in a sentence and it does it. You've got to really explain to to it, what you're looking for. And then, you know,
Yeah.
And many people refer to it training it in your way
Mhm.
of thinking.
Yep.
And so, but like, if, for example, if I wanted to know the steps for creating a Google ad, as you mentioned,
Mhm.
that would be a great use of AI, I think,
Right.
is just,
Yeah.
coming up with ways to learn how to do new things,
Yeah.
particularly in
And
the tech areas. Yeah.
yeah, it's a great teacher. It's a really great teacher. But the challenge with that exact example that you have is because things are changing so quickly right now,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
quickly in the world of marketing. Like how to set up a Google ad instruction manual is so different 6 months ago than it is now. And
Hmm.
the LLM is potentially like sometimes I catch it. It's like, ChatGPT, how do I set up a Google ad? It's like, oh, do this, this, this. And then I'm like, okay, this isn't working. That thing isn't there. That button, that checkbox, that whatever is not there. And
Right,
then,
right,
and then like, where did you get that information from? You click on it and the article was published 2023, 2024, not even that long ago. But
right,
this is what I'm talking about, always checking the data.
right, right. Yeah, it's just, yeah, use it, check and verify.
Check in, but
Yeah.
what you're to share like what you're talking about prompts as a power tip, like prompt engineering is what it's like a whole job description now. Although it's kind of going away because what's cool is you can actually ask ChatGPT to help you write better instructions to have ChatGPT do what you want. Like I literally spent 4 hours yesterday working with ChatGPT to create the ultimate ChatGPT prompts to tell ChatGPT how to write like me, how to write a newsletter like me, a blog post like me, and I've done this before, and every year or so I update it because ChatGPT's operations have changed. So
Right.
that's called prompt engineering, and the best
Yeah.
thing anyone watching or listening to this can do is ask ChatGPT in order to give you the best knowledge about me so you can accurately write in my voice, know all about my practice, write blog posts for me, help me come up with a marketing plan. Give me 15 questions that you want me to answer for you. Let it
Hmm.
spit out those questions. Do not answer them in ChatGPT because you're going to want to reuse this. Take out the most magical device known as your phone or whatever it is,
Hmm.
open up a voice dictating app, open up a Zoom meeting and record the Zoom meeting. It doesn't matter how. What you want is a transcript and answer those questions as if you were having a casual conversation with someone. Use as many words as possible. Don't skimp on the words. Don't give 2-word answers. Like go into teacher mode, go into philosopher mode, go into therapist mode. Use jargon. It doesn't even matter. What you're doing is you're giving whatever AI model you use the data to know all about you, your modalities, your specialties, your background, your passions, why you love being a therapist, who your favorite types of clients are, who the clients are you don't want to see, what makes you different than other therapists, why you're worth what you charge. Like these are some of the questions that we use when we're training a model. Record all of that,
Hmm.
get the transcript. Then, before you ask ChatGPT anything, and you can do this with the free version, plug that in and be like, for the rest of this chat, I want you to pull your answers only from this document. If there's something that you want to say that's not in the document, you have to let me know what you want to say and where you got that information from. And that way, it's like the fusion of these two worlds. And there's a
Yeah.
many more like
Oh.
complex ways that we do this behind the scenes, but that is a way that is accessible to anybody with a phone.
All right, right. Oh, that's a brilliant, brilliant tip there, Greg, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be using that. I love that. I
that's
love
great.
that. That's good. Well, Greg, I've got to be mindful of your time and our time
Yeah.
together, and I know we could spend all day talking about this, and maybe one day we'll get to. But tell folks more about where they can locate you and how they can tap into all your things.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, easiest way ever. Internet. Good old
Yeah.
internet. Goodman, my last name, Goodman Creatives, the plural of creative.com, goodmancreatives.com. That's my homepage. It's got everything you need to know about there, about how we could collaborate. Big picture, what do we do? Our goal is to get you full and to keep you full all year round, regardless of recessions or politics or AI or, you know, what's going on in the tech world, like good old fashioned human interaction, getting you found on Google, getting you found on LLMs, getting you full, keeping you full, reducing stress and overwhelm, web design, SEO, Google Ads, copywriting done for you. We do it all for you. We're definitely a done for you service. So if you're looking for a teaching program or a coaching program, we have little bits of that in there, but there's a lot of other amazing folks who've appeared on your podcast
Yeah.
who specialize in the DIY model.
Uh-huh.
And that is what we do. That's how we do it. But big picture is we are your partner. We want to be with you for years to come and support your growth from solo practice to group practice, from small group practice to big group practice, entrepreneurial minded therapists. We'd love to chat with you. GoodmanCreatives.com. Lots of free resources. And oh, and if you're like, I want to use ChatGPT for copywriting, I put a lot of our best practices for mental health copywriting into a custom GPT. So if you wanted to access that, it's free to you, right? I'll trade you your email address and your first name to go to the newsletter
Uh-huh.
to grab access to the guide. It's got a bunch of those questions I mentioned and some other ways you can use the AI to do it. It's under goodmancreatives.com/copywriting bot. So that's probably a little bit long, but I'm sure Gordon can
Yeah.
put it in the notes for
Yeah,
you. Copywriting
absolutely.
bot, and you can download it that way. And we'll see if I can get you a shorter URL for it. It's
Yeah,
I've
well,
never had to say it out loud before. It feels kind of long. Like it should be
yeah,
like
yeah,
goodmancreatives.com/GPT, but it's not there
yeah.
yet.
Yeah, well, good, good. And like you said, Greg, we'll have links here in the show notes and the show
Cool.
summary for people to access all that easily. So, well, Greg, I really enjoyed our conversation and I hope to have you back at some point and hope you, as we're recording this, we're right in the middle of the holidays or holiday season, and I hope you have a great holiday season.
Thanks, Gordon. I want to say one thing to you too. I want to
Uh,
genuinely express gratitude to you and for all the podcasts and all the ways. Like I talk to so many people, and you're a household name, and people get so much value from your podcast, and you've helped so many people with this that you've done. So I just want to acknowledge all the
well,
work and the hard work and effort you put in, and say thank you on behalf of the world for everything that
no,
you're doing.
well, you're very kind. I appreciate that very
Appreciate
much.
you.
So take care, Greg.
All right, have a good one.